Hi everybody. I'm going to update the void fill or the logo fill for 4K cameras. There's been a lot of changes, obviously, in hardware, and there's been a lot of changes in Director that are actually going to make this process a lot easier. So I'm only going to use two programs. I'm going to use the Director, and I'm going to use Adobe Premiere. You can use Final Cut Pro as long as the sequences are 2880 by 2880. And 3840 by 1920 when you flatten it out. So everything I do in Premiere can be done in Final Cut Pro, but just pay attention to the sequence settings and just match them on the other program. Okay, I'm going to go over this quickly because I'm going to try to show that it can be done in under 5 minutes, which I think is a good time to get this done. We've really made it easier. We continue to try to make it easier, and it will get easier in the future. But right now, there's just been so many changes that I wanted to get a cleaner version out there for what you do with the 4K to put a logo at the bottom or the top of your screen. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to start with Adobe Premiere, creating a new project. It's going to be Logo Fill. And then I'm going to do New Sequence. First sequence I'm going to do is a 4K square. It's 2880 by 2880, and the frame rate I'm going to do is 24. So you can grab any of these. I just have a custom one because I made one. You can really do any one and customize it. Like if I have this 1080p, if I go up to settings, I just change the time base to 24 and the size to 2880 by 2880, 24 frames. I can save it as a preset, and that's how it ends up in the custom. But I'm just going to name it 2880 by 2880 fill. So now I have a giant square. I'm going to import my logo. The one I'm going to use is just a little PNG that I'm going to import and then drag it over. So everything's going to be imported into the middle of the screen, 2880 by 2880. It's directly in the center, which is where I want it. It's about 3 seconds long. I'm just keeping it short. So I'm going to export this. And the first thing you'll notice is that I can't get 2880 out of by 2880 out. I'm going to go 2304 by 2304 because it's the highest H.264 export that Premiere will do. The purists probably won't like this solution, but I'm then going to basically take that 2304 and up-res it to the 4K. The logos still look good. I'll show you what it looks like. But it's the easiest way just to keep two programs involved in this whole process. We'll render at maximum depth. I go to pass about 20 or 22, and then I'm going to export it to the desktop. Okay, you can hide Premiere now. And you can see that on my desktop I just have a 3-second square with my logo in the middle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that into Director, import it, and when I play it, first thing we're going to have to do is insert some metadata. So in the little hamburger icon here, you can get the choices, projection change. Right now there is no metadata, so it's just going to insert a default projection. Once that's in, then you'll be able to get the icon that will let you change the projection. So the interesting thing about this is, so I want this logo to appear at the bottom of my lens up video, which means the video is going to take up the top part of the lens. The black area would be below the image. So I actually have to be opposite. So I'm going to say that this is a lens down video so that it puts the stuff I want at the bottom. My logo is going to spread it out at the bottom once I save it. So I'm going to save it as a lens down. And if you wanted to put it on the top, you'd save it as a lens up. So it's opposite of what you actually shot the video with, is how you want to save this. And I'll show you what this turns out to be first. Before I share it, I want to make sure the settings are set to the highest. So it's 3840 by 1920, which is going to be the 4K output. If you're using the HD, you could definitely go to the 2560 by 1280. But I'm going to go to 3840 by 1920 since it was, the video I'm using was HD video. So now that that's set, I'm going to use the Alt option on the share option here. So I'm holding down the Option or Alt button on a Mac, and I'm clicking the share icon. It brings up a window where I can save the equirectangular to. Once this kicks in, it should only take a few seconds. Okay, so now it is over here. It's equirectangular, 3840 by 1920. It's got my logo down there, spread out, nice and easy. I'm going to pick Premiere Backup, create a new sequence. Again, I already have a sequence, but it's basically the same as what I just exported. 4K equirectangular, 3840 by 1920 at 24 frames per second. So that means that when I import my new file, logo file, it's going to fit perfectly along the bottom there. So it fills up the whole thing. But I want this area here to be my other content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a little crop. I'm going to find the crop filter, drop it on here, and I'm going to crop this top 66.6%, which will bring it down, and you'll see what happens when I bring in my file that I'm going to use with it. Go find the file that I want here. Put it under it since I cropped it out. And just make that shorter so it's easier to export. So, okay, you see I have my content with my logo underneath, and I can just duplicate this if it needs to be longer, duplicate the logo and keep it going. But I'm just going to use this now and export this out equirectangularly. Render at maximum depth, about 21. Logo, final, desktop, export. Okay. Now that that's exported, we can see it here on the desktop. Perfect. Now, if I tried to upload this directly to YouTube or Facebook right now, it still has no metadata because I went into Premiere and it got stripped out. So I'm going to use the latest metadata injector from YouTube. Simply click Open, find your equirectangular, inject metadata. It will add injected to the bottom of it and create a new one. That quick. So you can just grab it, and upload it. Remember, even after it's done uploading, it still takes about 2, 3, 4 minutes, or depending on the length, to actually wrap it up and make it 360. So I'll show you that if you just open it. As soon as you get the link, you'll see that it's still equirectangular. Nothing to freak out about. Wait a couple minutes, and as it's done really processing, it will wrap it up and make it 360. See, I went so quick. It's still equirectangular. But if I wait a few minutes, it becomes 360. With your logo looking real nice at the bottom. and real easy to do. I hope that helps. It's saved a few steps. Certainly is a lot easier and a lot faster than it was. And as I said, we continue to keep making this process easier. Again, if there's any questions, let me know in the forum. Thank you very much.